Hello guys, welcome back to this channel. Today we're ranking all 8 Stranger Things episodes ranked. So let's, not much to say, but got the list up. Got a new phone, 13, made in phone case, because they're awesome. Number of the Beast, one of their best albums. Anyway, get back on topic. So, go check out my Stranger Things polls, as well as my Black Panther polls after they've been released. Both of them about Stranger Things was about a week ago, and then Black Panther poll was posted like 3 days ago, so check both those out. And not much to say, but go check my Stranger Things playlist, Marvel, rest of the channel. So yeah, before we get started, the bottom 3 on this list, they're literally tied. They could move up and down depending on where they are, so just note that these bottom 3 really could change any day of the week, and honestly, might not be my actual ranking tomorrow, so who knows. Without further ado, let's get into it. Coming in number 8, or last place, I guess, whatever, is going to be episode 1, or chapter 1, Suzie, Do You Copy? I don't dislike this one. I think it's perfectly fine, but just compared to the rest of the season, I just don't think it's as good. I think it might be one of my least favorite episodes of the show, maybe other than Lost Sister, I guess. Really, these bottom 3 could go back and forth for the rest of the season, but anyway, good stuff. I like the thing at the end with the ambiguous ending involving the Russian signal or whatever. I think the whole bit where the kids are trying to scare Dustin is hilarious, and overall, I like the lighter tone of it, kind of coming into this season with the lighter tone, where the first season, or second season, was a bit darker and not as, charming as the first season. This season kind of brought that back, which I really liked. No real issues with this episode. It just doesn't have the high octane of the rest of the season, and there's some odd stuff, like the Hopper stuff. I just don't think that it works for the character, I'd say. It's pretty funny at times, but overall, it was just hard to watch half the time. I kind of started to cringe at it, and he's just not being the most likable character. None of them are being likable, especially Mike, why wouldn't he just tell Elle that he's just, I don't know. Yeah, so overall, I still like it. It's just, compared to the rest of the season, I just thought this beginning of the season kind of got off to a bit of a weird start. But it's not bad. Coming in number 7 is going to be Chapter 3, Case of the Missing Lifeguard. It's fine, I guess. It's just kind of boring for the most part. I think there's some good stuff. I think them investigating Billy, or Ella and Max and investigating Billy and how they're kind of becoming friends. I think that aspect of it is pretty fun. You get that in the second episode. And the part of the problem is, I wouldn't think I'll give it the first 2 episodes, is that they're a bit more character-based, which is a lot of the stuff I really like in this show. And then this season this episode kind of moves on a bit from that. Now it's about what's going on around them more so, which is some of my least favorite parts of the season. Well, I guess, it's not bad, but it's just my least favorite. I do really like this season, though. So, I like the Billy stuff. He starts to kind of get veiled and see what's going on. You see the rat plotline kind of continue. All the stuff with Nancy and the reporter stuff, I just don't like. It's kind of in this episode, I guess. I think, is this the episode where Heather's parents or whatever got turned into, I think that's this episode. I can't quite, yeah, that's this episode, where they get turned into demi mind flayer people, whatever you want to call it. So, that element of it was, I think the effects during that was a bit weird, but again, I still enjoy this episode, but I just don't really remember much from it. I think the whole thing with the sleepover, Will's just being kind of an unlikable character, and it's just not the most enjoyable stuff to watch. So overall, I just thought this episode was, I did like it a bit more than the first one, because it kind of progressed the plot a bit. And I like the stuff with Dustin and Steve. Coming number 6 is going to be Chapter 2, Mallrats. I don't dislike this episode. I think it's perfectly fine. I think it's a little bit more watchable than the other 2. Still nothing really great or anything. I think the Dustin stuff and Steve is always a lot of fun. I quite like some of the moments at the ball where they're having fun shopping or whatever. Some of it's just a bit odd, where specifically why didn't Mike just tell Eleven that Hopper kind of made him do this, and then maybe you could have resolved something about that, and it could have been more about the characters, but instead they broke up in a kind of a weird way. I don't know. And then just some of that stuff just doesn't play out right overall. It's fine, I guess, but yeah, there's that. I think the Billy stuff I do quite like, which is kind of what puts this one a little bit higher than the other 2, where he's kind of having these visions of himself. There's this whole scene with the rats, kind of it's this red stuff that kind of is going somewhere. We don't know where that is. Mystery, ambiguous ending. I quite like this episode. It's still pretty fun. I think the Eleven and Elle stuff, or Eleven and Max stuff kind of works because you could see this is seen at the end of season 2, where they're not really friends, I guess, but now they're becoming better friends, and I think a lot of that really works. So overall, I do enjoy this episode, but similar to the other ones, it's just not as high octane as this season gets. Coming number five is going to be episode 4, the Sauna Test, and kind of has my similar problems to the other 3 episodes. But what puts this one a bit higher is mainly that sauna test scene. It's fantastic. I just love that whole bit where like Eleven's force pushing into with Billy, that whole thing. The last 10 minutes of this episode are great, especially how the Mrs. Frisco plotline and all the rats kind of are doing their thing. And I think this is where the invader of the body snatchers part of the season is. I think at its most funness in the 5th episode. So I think those elements I do actually quite like. And overall, I do enjoy this episode. I think some of the bits where Will's kind of explaining what's going on with the whole thing that's happening in his back or whatever, or his neck or something, I don't know. The Dustin, Erica, and Steve stuff and Robin stuff kind of actually comes into fruition, and now they're going to investigate this whole thing with the container and whatever. And I think that all those scenes are a lot of fun, and I love the scene where they get trapped in the elevator at the end. I think that's the stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So that stuff is good. I think overall, I think some of the character stuff isn't bad, but it still suffers for some of the problems from the first 3 episodes where the tension isn't rising. But I think this one's just a bit more fun than the first 3, and it's way more watchable, I'd say. Coming in number 5 is going to be the Flayed. So this episode kind of continues on what happened in the last episode. Now Dustin, Steve, Erica, and Robin are in the base, and overall, I think that's a lot of fun seeing the storyline. I am still kind of asking my questions how to get there, but I don't really care that much because I'm just having fun seeing what's going on, because now we're jumping up to great episodes, some of the best of the show even, and I just love how it goes on, and they're going down the longest hallway that man could ever see, and I think that all that's a lot of fun. The whole thing with the nursery and then they get attacked at the end of it, I think that's great. What were Mike, Will, and them doing? I kind of forgot. I don't quite remember. So, I think mainly it's because of the Russian stuff that's kind of the main reason why this episode's a little bit higher than some of the other ones. It's fun like most the rest of the season overall. So I enjoy that. This is when this is when you get introduced to the Terminator character officially. You have Hopper you get Hopper going into this thing, and then him and Joyce, they both get attacked by this guy, and that's a very fun little sequence. And then you see get introduced to the Alexi character, which he's a lot of fun. You see Murray again, and overall just very fun episode. I really enjoyed this one. Furthers and progresses the season into where we get to high octane territory, and I just kind of wish the rest of the season was a bit better, but I really do enjoy this episode. Coming in number 3 is going to be Plurbius Unimm. Yeah, I think this chapter 6 is really good. I think the Alexi stuff is a lot of fun. They have him translating the Russian, dealing with Slurpees. That's just all so much fun. Kind of like some of the other elements of the season. I'll talk about another one again later. There's this whole bit where like you expect Alexi to just drive off and go get a Slurpee, but he just stays back with them because he knows that's where he's safe. And overall, I really enjoy those elements. It's really good. I think the elements at the hospital where like they're getting attacked by the big monster or little monster, I guess technically speaking, that's all a lot of fun. You have the Russian-based stuff where they're getting tortured they're getting tortured. They get captured in this episode, specifically Robin and Steve, as Dustin and Erica escape. So a lot of those elements are a ton of fun, and just a very fun episode overall. This is where you get to start into high gear, I guess. You have the whole bits where the Terminator guys chasing them as they kind of continue on. And is that this episode or last episode? I can't quite remember. I'll just say it's this episode, because either way I just enjoyed a ton. Hopper and Joyce going into detective mode. This is when their story sort of got a lot more interesting. All of the stuff with the kids and Nancy and Jonathan included, that they're kind of attacking the heroes or defeating these monsters or whatever, and kind of coming up with a plan to defeat the Mind Flayer or whatever. So overall, just a very fun episode. I really enjoyed this one. Coming number 2 is going to be The Bite, which is chapter 7. So the the penultimate chapter or episode is just I think it's just so much fun. You have Robin and Steve escaping the base and into one of my favorite scenes of the season, where they end up going to Back to the Future and accident, and then kind of calls back to in the finale, which is actually a lot of fun. And then you have all this, and then it kind of subverts your expectations, where there's this little scene right after where you'd expect them to make out or do whatever, something like that. But it doesn't really do that. It doesn't do that, and now they're kind of just presented as friends. And overall, I think that kind of aspect of it actually really works. The kids' plotline, as they're trying to come up with a plan to defeat the Mind Flayer, and all the 11 scenes really work. And as it just builds up the finale really well, as it kind of all of it ends up in Starcourt Lab. They kind of all meet up together in the end. So, or is that the next episode? I don't know. So all of it is just great. I love this episode to death. It's just sets up the finale so well. You have everything's building up where the Mind Flayer is gonna go attack Starcourt Mall, and just the way everything just kind of progresses in this episode. The 11 stuff really works. There's that little bit, the house, which is a sort of a terrorizing moment, a very good moment. I really like that. So overall, I love all of those elements. They're all really good. I just think this episode's a lot of fun. Just another fantastic episode at the end of this season. Also, the Alexi death, where they're at the fun fair or whatever, that whole sequence is just amazing and kind of emotional because I kind of had fun with this character. So I love that sequence. That's mainly what puts this episode so high. And coming in number 1, kind of no surprise. I think most people would have this one in number 1. This is episode 7 probably. And that is the finale, this battle at Starcourt Mall. Just what a fantastic episode. There's all the stuff involving the Mind Flayer as he is attacking all the kids in Starcourt Mall. Just all so much fun. I love all of those elements. And just the way it all plays out is just done so well. No real issues with this one. No real issues except maybe the Billy death. I think kind of wish he stayed alive to kind of fulfill his arc because he never really went full circle. He just saved someone. Oh wait, he's a good guy, but then he dies. So I don't know. But on the good stuff, you have everything put together to defeat this thing. Every single plot line works well. My favorite one is personally when Joyce, Hopper, and Murray are going to the Russian base to go destroy this thing. Those sequences are a lot of fun. The whole, I think the part where they're battling at the Starcourt Mall is so much fun. There's all the stuff with the fireworks. There's a whole thing with the car at one point. And I think just the way everything plays out, it just works so well. It ends the season on such a high note, on such a fairly intense note. Also the Steve and Robin stuff where I forgot what they're doing. It doesn't matter. I still love this episode to death. It's amazing. The Dustin stuff really works where you have the bit with Suzie. I think that's a lot of fun, kind of calling back from what the first episode did. So yeah, overall, I love this episode. It's fantastic. It's a great finale. It comes in at number 1. And also, the Hopper letter at the end, I almost teared up at that scene. It's just thinking about it, I think it's just a fantastic scene. It almost makes me wish that Hopper didn't survive and he actually died through that. But at the same time, what season 4 did, I do quite like what they're doing with the Russian base. But I would have been okay if this is how Hopper's character ends. So overall, I love this episode. It's amazing. Probably the best finale up to this point. It's between this and the season 1 finale. I don't know. Those two. Also the season 2 finale. Well, the season 2 finale I don't quite like as much, but season 2, it's kind of this 2-parter I quite like. I don't know. I love this episode. It's amazing. Number 1. Thank you guys so much for watching. Share your rank in the comments below. I'm interested. Stranger Things 4 review and episodes rank should be coming out soon. And more stuff. I have to catch up on the show. I've been watching my dad pretty slowly, but yeah. Stranger Things playlist. Stranger Things poll, which it's not up here, but yeah. Black Panther stuff. Black Adam. All the channel. Enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Comment down below. See you guys next time. Adios.